They found a hidden compartment beneath my bedroom, and inside it was a doll made of bones, hanging upside down from a thread. After that, my family abandoned the house immediately. But to understand why that terrified us so much, I have to tell you what happened before. I was around 5 or 6 years old when my family moved from the UK to Hungary because of my father's job. It was the early 1990s, just after the fall of the Soviet Union, when foreign companies were finally entering the country. My father worked for one of those companies. We bought a huge mansion-like house in Budapest. It had 4 bedrooms, a massive front yard, and an even bigger backyard. The strange thing was how cheap it was for a house of that size. But my parents assumed property was simply inexpensive after years of communist rule. For the first few months, life was great. My sisters and I settled in quickly. We attended one of the newly established American international schools with Christian backing. I wasn't particularly interested in religion, but at least the hamburgers and pizza in the cafeteria were cheap. Then one night, everything changed. I shared a room upstairs with my sister. Usually we'd stay awake talking before falling asleep, but that night we'd spent the entire day playing in the backyard and were exhausted. Sometime during the night, I woke up feeling thirsty. As I sat up, I glanced over toward my sister's bed on the other side of the room. She was sitting upright. The room was dark, so I couldn't see her face clearly, only her silhouette. Before I could say anything, she suddenly dropped backward onto the bed. Not lay down, dropped, as if someone had pushed her. The bed squeaked loudly from the impact. I thought it was strange, but I was still focused on getting a glass of water. Then she sat up again, instantly, and slammed back down, then up again, then down again, and again. Each time the bed shook violently, and the springs squealed in the darkness. I froze. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I just stared as the silhouette repeated the motion over and over. I don't know how long it lasted. Minutes, maybe hours. Then it stopped. The figure sat perfectly still. The silhouette somehow looked darker than the room around it. Then slowly, it turned its head toward me. I squeezed my eyes shut as hard as I could, hoping I was dreaming. After what felt like forever, I forced myself to look again. The figure was still there. Its head completely turned toward my bed. Its face was nothing but darkness. My heart pounded so hard, I thought I would suffocate. I wanted to scream, but fear locked my jaw shut. Then suddenly, I found the strength to move. I jumped out of bed and ran straight toward my sister. But when I reached her, she was lying in bed, fast asleep. The dark figure was gone, vanished. I shook her awake and told her everything I'd seen. She laughed it off and told me to stop trying to scare her because she didn't believe in ghosts or supernatural stories. I stayed awake the rest of the night, watching her bed. Nothing else happened, but from that day on, the house felt different. The rooms felt colder. The hallways felt wrong. I begged my parents to move, but they blamed horror movies and my imagination. Eventually, the feeling faded, and life seemed normal again. Then one morning, I woke up to my mother's screams. She had just stepped out of her bedroom and found me hanging upside down from the second-floor staircase railing like a bat. The moment I became aware of where I was, my legs gave out beneath me. I would have fallen headfirst onto the floor if my father hadn't caught me in time. Doctors diagnosed me with somnambulism, sleepwalking. They told my parents it was common in children and probably caused by nightmares or lack of sleep. My parents banned horror movies completely, but the sleepwalking continued. And every single time, I woke up hanging upside down from something. My parents were deeply religious and eventually became convinced something else was happening. Talk of exorcisms and possession started. Not long after, a priest came to our house. He spent nearly an hour alone inside our bedroom and warned us not to enter until he said it was safe. When he finally came out, his expression unsettled me immediately. He walked through the house muttering words that sounded like Latin. Then he stopped downstairs, directly beneath our room. He stared up at the ceiling. The expression on his face chilled me to my core. He called my parents over and quietly spoke to them. As he talked, their faces turned white. That same day, we packed our belongings and moved into a hotel. The next morning, My parents hired workers to tear open the ceiling directly beneath our bedroom. Hidden inside was a small trapdoor. Inside the compartment was a bag filled with tiny animal bones. Chicken bones, maybe. But there was something else. A small doll, made from the same bones, hanging upside down from a thread. My parents sold the house shortly after, and we never returned. We stayed in Hungary for another year before eventually moving back to the UK. My parents became even more devoted to their faith after that. As for me, I never became an atheist. I still believe in God, but churches have always made me uneasy. I stopped attending when I went to college, and I've never gone back, because whatever happened in that house convinced me of one thing. There are things in this world that we still don't understand, and sometimes they're hiding much closer than we think.